like okay.
So,
Okay, perfect. So the webinar is starting right now. Welcome to our panel today on how scientists with from abroad or from in the diaspora are able to create more innovation in the countries they're in and bringing innovation into science and academia. So welcome to my two guests, Ali and Andrea. I'm sorry, I'm just like switching directly to your first names. So Siba, wait a minute. You are like you're hosting kind of from the organization, right?
yeah, me and Reem, we are organization. Yeah.
Okay, good. So it feels like no one tuned in except us, right?
Yes,
Or it will be recorded.
I don't mind that we go on. I mean, it's very interesting.
Yeah, no, we will definitely, and it will be recorded and provided later because I think the time is also not suitable for everyone, and I think a lot of webinars will be shown later. That's why it's recorded, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for joining me. That's so interesting having you both because Professor Ali, I know from Max Planck Society, we kind of met through that, and he studied or did his PhD in Germany previously, and he's now in Jordan where I am right now, right? And Andrea, I know also from another program, and she's in Germany, but originally from which country was it, Andrea?
I'm originally from Colombia, but right now I am in Switzerland,
Colombia.
actually.
You're in Switzerland, which is more exciting. So we have much more countries now in common. So I would like to ask you both to introduce yourselves, and then we go on with the questions or our discussion, right? So Andrea, you want to start? Yes, go ahead.
So thank you very much, Javier, for inviting me. Well, I'm Andrea. I'm originally from Colombia. Right now, I am a PhD candidate in astrophysics. And as part of the things that motivate me really is advocating for women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and definitely how the diaspora can also contribute to the development of science, innovation, technology from outside to developing countries like my own.
Perfect. And I love the way how you do it, and I'm happy if you share later a little more about it. And now, Ali, you want to introduce yourself? Now you're fixing your headset. Ali, do you hear us?
Yeah, hi. Do you hear me?
Now. Yeah, we hear you well.
Okay. So my name is, sorry for that. I mean, it's not working today. I don't know why. It works when I don't need it. So my name is Ali Al-Sawalmi. I am currently the director of the Marine Science Station. It's a research institute. I would like to thank Abir for inviting me for this valuable and precious panel and discussion. I mean, very short about myself. I moved to Germany in 2001 for making my master's degree at the Max Planck Institute, and then I moved to another Max Planck Institute for my PhD studies in Düsseldorf, and then I worked for 5 years as a researcher. After that, I returned back to Jordan. I mean, but this time returned back with a nationality, with German nationality. So yeah, this is short about me.
Quite interesting to return back to your own country as like a kind of other citizen with another citizenship back to their own roots. This is also something we can tackle on later. Very, very interesting. I find you both very interesting. We're like connected through different topics and fields. So Andrea, you said that you like one of your topics is like empowering women in science especially, and like creating innovation in science for to give back also to countries like your own. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Yes. So, for example, as I said, I do astrophysics, and coming from Colombia, which I don't know how much you know about Colombia, but we have been a country that has been affected by war for many years. And only recently there was a peace agreement that we signed. And so I think for the younger generation, especially like my own, it's important that we start looking forward to a future, for example, around science, where also women and girls are empowered, are taken into account. So I realized that one way to do it, just because I needed to, I left Colombia 6 years ago, also to find opportunities, because I couldn't find opportunities to study in my own country, the thing that I wanted to study. I don't want other girls and other women to go through the same thing that I had to do, because I believe that there are so many things that we can do. But I think that in that sense, we started to advocate for finding these resources. And one thing that I've noticed is that the diaspora, the Colombian diaspora, the scientific one, have tried to find these connections and like getting to know each other from outside. And how can we like build these bridges towards Colombia? How can we, for example, mentorship students? How can we find resources for them to come and do internships with us? But also, I think the other important thing at the policy or the legal level is that we are more, or at least from my area, I've been trying to be more involved with the government. You know, how can we, as scientists, advise and give this other like gender perspective into their policies in science, technology, innovation? And yeah, I think it's not like a process that is done from one day to another, but that there is definitely a mindset change. And that definitely the younger generation of scientists are the ones who need to advocate this, both at the educational level, at the scientific level, but also at the higher level, at the policy making, the decision making. Otherwise, the structural changes are not going to take place, at least not in the long run.
Okay. Would be interesting to know your ideas on how, but I would go further to Ali. Is it okay if I just say Ali, right? We talk in our first names, right? What Andrea just tackled was like, on the one hand is innovation.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I like the idea which came to my mind while you were talking is like scientists in the diaspora, which are bringing innovation forward, which is the topic of our discussion today. But what you just brought in, Andrea, is like innovation, bringing back innovation to our own countries, right? And giving back to the own country. And who is a better example than Ali by doing so? Who went who studied in different countries, even in Iraq, right? And then in Germany, in different Max Planck Institute on the highest level, and then came back to the own country with a with an additional citizenship. Would you say you're giving back to your own country while being let's say a researcher studied outside, or like educated outside, or how would you describe it?
Yeah, as you mentioned, my diaspora started when I was 18 years old, when I went to Germany to study for my bachelor degree in physics. And then I moved to Saudi Arabia to work there as a research assistant at the university. Then when I wanted to finish my postgraduate studies, I moved to Germany for my master. Actually, I would like to say that higher education and research is not just information or knowledge. It's also I would say that it's an organizational way of life. Because if you live in an environment, very well organized environment, okay, and you do research, in this case, there will be harmony between the environment where you live and your specialization and your research life. When I spent some time in Germany, around 11 years, I mean, starting from being a student until I became a researcher, I learned not from university, but I learned from community and the life and infrastructure, and on the top of that, mentality and culture. Yes. So when I returned back to Jordan, yes, I admit that I was a researcher first, and then I became a director. I brought to Jordan a lot of experience that is based on innovation, especially in managing research. This is very important. Actually, I would like to highlight something is that management and research are both very connected with each other. So if you miss management, even if you have a lot of money, you can't do research, because mainly research brings management. So one thing that I am doing here in Jordan, which I really brought back from Germany, is that I could manage research activities, and as well as, I mean, this is in addition to the, I mean, some what I published in Germany in a very high impact factor journals. We discovered the honeycomb structure, for example, and some marine skeletons, and so on, and etc. Yes.
No, move on. Did I
Yeah.
interrupt you?
Yeah.
Also, okay, sorry.
Yes, if you want me to listen more, yes.
No, okay, that's very interesting, like managing research and like the management you brought back from Germany. This is something I thought it's also very interesting. And so what I understand from you is like being in the diaspora is not only like bringing into innovation into the new country you do research in, but also what you gained from this country bringing back to the original research field, or like roots, your country, the country of your origins, or yeah, the knowledge you can bring back. And this is something, Andrea, you kind of want also for Colombia, right, on a long term, or on a bigger scale, right?
Yes.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. And Andrea, what do you think? Why are you? I'm not saying, I don't want to say more innovative, but why do you think researchers with different backgrounds, or like who are not in academia in their country of origin, like you are, I am, and Aini, why can they be a source of innovation or a source of change?
That's a very good question, and I think what I'm going to say it's backed up by a wealth, of papers of research around these topics. Diversity is one of the main drivers of innovation, of like looking into science in a different perspective. So more diverse groups have better results. They are more productive in general, and usually having this other perspective from the cultural background for the way that we do science, not only, I'm not talking about just gender, but also like intersectionality, the fact that I'm Latin American, I'm Hispanic, I'm a woman that grew up in different environments, or like I was doing science in a different setup, that brings a lot of let's say, like, it's another perspective of doing science. And I think in that sense, countries like the one that I am right now, like Switzerland, or the countries that I've lived in doing my academic career, they have benefited from that, definitely. So I think right now that has been like more important, that has become more important to appreciate all these ways to, these diverse ways of doing science, of thinking about innovation. But I think there is still a long way to go farther than that. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, absolutely. So I wonder, Ali, if you think, if you like me, you were leading the marine. Do you say marine or maritime? I don't know. Maritime Marine Institute here in Agaba, and I saw it, and I love what you do, the work you do, the structure you're bringing in. Would you say that if you had the chance to hire researchers in academia, would you say bringing researcher in who are from another cultural background would bring you benefit into your team. Just talking about me, for me, is really very, very important in my team, to see if it's not only about people coming from different cultural backgrounds or speaking other languages, it's also how this affects the way they think. Is this makes them more flexible and agile in finding solutions, in creating new ideas, in dealing with the upcoming challenges we are facing within the institute, within our research, or like this kind of thinking out of the box. And I have the feeling that people who are like lived in different countries, or like struggled through ups and downs, like Andrea just said, is like are more likely to be resilient and work on a long-term solutions or results, and are not likely to give up very quickly. What would you say as, like, say a research leader?
So if I would need researchers, I will try to make a mix of researchers from different origins. Why? I think the same as the approach of many companies, big companies, that they prefer that workers to come from different backgrounds because of competition. So when you mix researchers from different origins together, then you create a competition between these researchers. The other thing is that every researcher comes from his country, comes with an experience that is different from the researcher who is located in his home country. So if I would collect researchers from different countries, different institutes, in this case, I can enrich science. Okay, I can enrich research. I can create many chances and possibilities for science, because their interaction will create, more, inventions. There is one point I would like to add, is that just the idea to live in a country that is different than your country and getting adapted to a new life, a new language, a new culture itself. From my point of view, it contributes to the dynamic of a brain. So it will let you learn a new language, learn new culture, and try to understand a different view of different people. This itself, from my point of view, it gives dynamic to the brain. And this is what I'm talking about myself. When I came from Jordan to Germany, in the beginning, it was difficult for me because we lived a different style. But I could adapt myself to the new style, and I accepted it. Okay. And this really gave me another language, gave me another experience. The same, if you allow me to give an example, the same of kids that are born from parents of different cultures or different nationalities. Those kids, they grow up with two languages. So this will contribute to a lot in their life. And so this is, to answer your question, yes, I will make it by intention to mix researchers from different backgrounds, just for competition, purposes.
Okay. And if I may add something up here on what Ali just said,
Yes.
on adapting yourself to new cultures, I think this goes both ways, because as I have been immersed also in a very international environment, and I think the fact that maybe I have to give up a little bit of what I am culturally wise to be, welcome in a new society, etc. I think there should be also like an acceptance from the society to be welcome of other culture, and also try to understand where we people come from. So this is the way I say it. This should be a two-way street, because otherwise, I don't know, I wouldn't feel very comfortable. But this is just what I wanted to comment on what you said.
Yeah.
I would directly want to pick this thought, because when Ali was talking, what came to my mind is then the challenges the researchers would face, or in academia in other countries. I mean, beside all the advantages like gaining a new language, learning a new culture, learning new skills you wouldn't learn otherwise in your country, because you're adapted to, whatever, because you're used to. So you're confronted with new skills. You need to learn new skills. So what are, beside that, the challenges you both experienced as like researchers in the diaspora? And so, Andrea, I think this is something you could also share a lot about, and I know how passionate you're about this topic.
Right. Yeah, so I've been living in Europe already for 6 years, and I had the opportunity to live already in 4 countries. So I know that mobility is a central part of being a scientist, right? At least being an astronomer requires me to go to conferences, meetings, go and observe in telescopes. So I think that's very normal. But there comes a point in where the precarity, the precariousness of the system, of the academic system, plays against the diaspora. And I'm talking about this in the legal perspective, right? It's like from the policy side, every time we need to move to another country, visas, applications, going to meetings, for example, where we are not accepted just because based on our nationalities and all this kind of stuff. I don't think this supports the idea that diversity is really accepted per se, right? For example, with you, we were in Berlin earlier this year, and we were talking, for example, how really committed are companies, the countries, when they say we want more diverse people, we are committed to include more women in the labor force. Is that really so? Is that really so when they don't support from the policy side, from the visa side, the people coming? Is it so when they don't provide opportunities, for example, to learn the local language? And also like the precarity of the system. Do you really want to learn a new language when you know you only have a contract for just 2 years, 1 year, and then next year you have to go to another side of the world with a whole different set of languages, cultures, etc. So I think if we are really committed about diversity, there needs to be this needs to be accompanied by also like policy support to people coming from third countries, and because otherwise this all becomes a buzzword, and we are really not being committed to this. So this is something that I have encountered myself. I don't want to be a gender quota. I don't want to be the diversity quota of the research of the institute, their numbers, but I want to feel like I am in an environment that they actually want to support me, and that I actually have the tools to thrive in the long term in the country, that have spent their taxes to educate me, and that I want to pay back with the knowledge that I've gained.
Well, this is very interesting, like commitment, like that laws and regulation reflects commitment. This is something I talk about very often, that the values we proclaim should be also reflected in our laws and not otherwise. And you can clearly see the values of a country according to their law. So proclaiming diversity and whatever, and we need, for example, more women or more people from everywhere to bring more innovation into this field, but in the same time making it quite difficult for especially those people to participate into the dialogue or sit on the table, right? Take their place at the table. This is not this shows like a completely other picture. And Heidi wants to add on that.
Yes, actually I would like to comment to what Andrea just said. Well, I mean, I will talk about myself because I mean, the best example that I have for now is me. So when I joined the master program in Germany, it was an international master program. It was first initiated in 2001. So I joined in 2001. So it was in English speaking language. Well, I mean, it was not forced for me to learn German, but I felt that German will contribute, okay, to my career. in the future. I mean, even though if I am staying for a master period, and so I was supposing that learning language is very important. So I learned the language from my German friends. I tried like through doing sports and so on. So which is, I don't want to talk about things that are away from our I mean focus point, which is diaspora. But I feel that international institutes now in Europe became research institutes in Europe now, or maybe in the United States and Canada, they started now to be an international environment research institutes. When I was in Germany for my PhD and master, and as a postdoc at the Max Planck Institutes, the language which was spoken was English at that time. But this didn't forbid me to learn language. Well, I agree with you, Andrea, that there are some, I would say, retarding procedures that makes one sometimes not easy to get into the community, okay, but by visa and so on. But at the same time, Europe now, especially Germany, has given to scientists a special privilege to get the German nationality earlier than others, which is called hochqualifizierte Wissenschaftler oder yani, okay. So what I wanted to say is that there are chances. Europe has chances, okay, and Europe has proven. Well, I'm not talking about people living in the street, okay. I'm talking about people who behave in the institutions. I believe that people start to in the Europeans, they start to understand and accept others. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for adding that, Ali. The idea of that European research institutions, or like in the US and Canada, it was like more international since a long time, but that it's starting to become like this in Europe, especially in Germany, you were talking about. What do you think, Andrea, why is it happening? And I want to just, like, my question goes into one certain direction. Again, to the headline of our topic is because researchers from different backgrounds bring more into innovation into the team, or is it just like we don't have enough local researchers?
I think both of them are not mutually exclusive, right?
No,
right. With this, I just want to give you a heads up. I have to leave right after I answer this. But I think I don't think that, and I also think this depends really on the country and on the topic and the area that you want. And something I learned or that stick to me actually last week was this sentence that talent is everywhere, but opportunities are not. So
yeah.
there
Amen.
is a necessity of people to move, you know. And yeah, I think it goes both ways with the diversity thing, with being more innovative. But probably, well, for example, in Colombia, I would have loved to stay in Colombia, but I just didn't find the opportunities, even though I had the talent. So this forced me in a way to move around. Yeah. So Abir, thank you so much for your. I need to go.
Okay.
But I would be very happy.
I thought that this is like the last idea or thing we were about to share. Right now, I think our time was 30 to 40 minutes. But if you now leave, I want Adria, is there one last question? One last question. It's really burns on my, like, it really burns. I need to ask you that. We talked about like researchers from the or in the diaspora or from other countries bringing into innovation into these countries, but I want to bring a very provocative question. Isn't it that especially researchers from, let's call it, developing countries or global south moving to the global north and contributing with their knowledge, with their ideas, with their energy? I mean, if I feel your energy, Andrea, it's just like, yeah, and you bring all this energy into 4 different European countries but not into your own country. Is it not kind of moving, continuing the post-colonialism kind of, you know what I mean? That we also the energy and resources giving into the more wealthier countries because they are the opportunities, right? And the talents are moving towards the opportunities.
I think to answer this question, I think I come back to what I said in the beginning, the importance of building bridges and still have links with our countries, right? How can we contribute? How can we extend the opportunities, funds, resources that we have here for them? And of course, for example, I know that I'm representing in this conference to Switzerland, but in a way, I'm doing also so that I can come back to Colombia on a better foot and also provide opportunities to other students up there. So I think building bridges as the diaspora and like looking forward to come and see how we can always contribute, I think that's really important. So. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye, Andrea. And Ali, I would like to ask you this question again. What do you think, well, the same question I just asked Andrea, what do you think of like, even I see it also here, a lot of people from the Middle East want to also move to Europe, want to work there because there are the opportunities, but aren't we losing the talents in those countries and aren't we weakening those countries therefore?
I think no, I mean, I don't agree with you that. I mean, on the opposite, I mean, moving researchers and talented to other countries, they can bring chances to their original countries through making bridges and connections. For example, I am now, for example, trying to get connection and I did as well with Germany. And I mean, without being so far in Germany, I wouldn't have brought this experience and innovations, connections to Jordan. So I mean, scientists in general, the world for them is one country. So I mean, for science especially, it's a border-free life. Because wherever, I mean, for example, if someone whose research is focused on a topic that doesn't exist, I mean, a possibility in his own country, then he should move somewhere. But at the same time, any scientist that moves from his own country outside, he should put in his mind two things: how I can bring back my knowledge to my original country. Number one. Number two, how I myself can create a position for myself in my own country. So if during the life of researcher, if these two things are pinning in mind the whole time, this is great. I mean, many people, many people they built research centers in their own country. And I have an example here. There is a Jordanian, and he lived in Switzerland, and now he opened a research center in Aqaba. Yes, I mean, it's based on cancer studies and so on. So I mean,
oh really? I think my husband told me about.
Ah, really? Okay, so the world is very small. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Aqaba is very small. No, Jordan is very small.
Yes. Aqaba now.
Jordan is quite small.
Yes.
Okay.
So
absolutely agree with you. This is absolutely a way to see it, and so both countries, the country of origin and the country where you contribute at least for a certain amount of time, would contribute from your knowledge, from your energy, and your innovation. So I think we're coming to an end now. Ali, thank you very much for joining in. We had a little bit of time issues with Andrea, so she needed to leave to jump on another meeting. But I was really happy having you both, like completely with different opinions and different mindsets, and I love this about the discussion. So thank you very much. I mean, you're not far away. I can just wave towards you right over the mountains.
You have a background than mine, so it's
yeah, right. I'm in the backyard of a house here, and I love the mountains. So I love
wow.
always when I have meetings to have these mountains in the back, so people have something to enjoy.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you
very
very much.
nice.
Thank you,
You're
Sabah and
welcome.
Dream, for organizing, and for everyone. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.